Hi there. Whenever anyone thinks of the inverted pentagram, a lot of people think of it as a symbol of foreboding and ill fortune and evil and destruction and so forth. Um, Especially if you've had any contact with the tarot and the five inverted pentagrams of the five of wands and the five of cups and the five of pentangles and the five of swords, and you think of strife and worry and all the other ones. Um, so people have definitely kind of a rather negative attitude towards the inverted pentagram. It's strange because it's actually to be found chiseled, that is engraved into a Christian tomb in the Roman catacombs, which is quite interesting. And we'll come on to that a bit later. Um, but I've always thought that the inverted pentagram is a symbol of great power. Power in the sense of, um, I am here, sort of thing. I was here, I am here, I will be here. The five, if you take the five arms of each inverted pentagram, there are 15 arms altogether, and 15 is the if you add up the letters of the Hebrew word for thorn, just without the vowels, they come to 15. And I always think of the inverted pentagram as being like a thorn, something that you step on and you say ouch. So something that grabs your attention, the thorn in the side, perhaps a bit permissive, or perhaps a bit revolutionary in some way, a bit deconstructionist. And so, indeed, I think that if you look at the inverted pentagram, for example, the referring again to that inscription of the inverted pentagram on a Christian tomb. Of course, it suggests a symbol for the dove, a symbol for Christ, a symbol of the good news, the gospel, a symbol of the dove after Noah's flood, and John the Baptist as well, and the Holy Spirit, indeed. That is our connection with the transcendental realm and the transcendental God. And I've got here, there's look at the head, and there's the wings and the tail, and so the dove of peace, the dove of good news, the dove of the gospel, the mercurial light descending, the Holy Spirit descending at Pentecost. These kind of ideas enter into this symbol of the inverted pentagram. And so that's sort of a connection between the inverted pentagram and the transcendental. And then going over to the water, which sort of it suggests also the chalice. Here's the bowl. There's a bowl here, and then there's the handles, and there's the stem and the base of the chalice. Or it could be kind of like a platter. It could be look like a cheese dish, and often the Holy Grail has been kind of seen in that way, sort of like the platter that held St. John's head as well. So John the Baptist as a martyr for Christ, the so the foretelling of Christ, as it were, uh, foreknowledge of Christ coming. So, but this also represents, the chalice of mysticism, and spirit, and gnosis entering into the chalice. The one is open to spiritual change. So again, the water, the chalice, the inverted pentagram, the blue pentagram, sort of connected with the yellow pentagram, connects us to the transcendental. But there's no doubt about it that if we come down to the fire, we enter into the pentagram as its sort of popular kind of thoughts about the pentagram it's something to do with destruction, and the goat, the horns of the goat. But the energy of the goat is sort of rising up. But you also think of duality and between positive and negative for each side of the horns. And I got here the Van der Waals generators. You get two generators, and you generate a high potential at each point of the Van der Waals generator, and you get a current, you get an electric arc formed between two positive and negative charged conductors that are very highly charged with a great deal of voltage. And so you get sort of like the electric sort of spark between the two. And indeed, there's sort of the power, the thunderbolt, the everything going to Earth, and lightning striking Earth and things like that, really. Although, in fact, actually, it's sort of going upwards from Earth. But anyway, um, we also have here the idea of the horns of plenty, cornucopia or cornucopy, and the sort of abundance flowing down towards the earth. So again, a symbol of vitality, vital spark, joie de vivre, and the spark of life, the jiva, to put it in Hindu terms, jiva. So we have the mouth and the eyes and the horns or the ears, um, the face of the goat, the face of vitality and strength and sort of rising up of power. But it can also be destructive, of course. One thinks of the ram, especially at this time when I'm doing this video, of course, which is near the vernal equinox, when the sun goes into Aries. One thinks of the ram. One thinks of power, of male power, male dominance. Don't come near my harem of of females, or I'll challenge you to a fight. So there's conflict at the basis. So I suppose really this is kind of like the what people think of the inverted pentagram as something of destructive power. But it's only one power amongst many powers, or the five powers that I've depicted here. Um, and then going on to Earth, finally to Earth. This is how I started this whole contemplation on the inverted pentagram. We have here, the four elements, and we have Earth and structure, which is composed of the four elements, or also air, water, earth, and solid and plasma. So the interplay between the four elements to create structure, to create the earth, we have this world, as it were. But this contemplation began when I was thinking about the inverted pentagram and how it's a sort of a symbol of something balanced. And we have here the idea of dynamic equilibrium. Everything in nature is about balance, which is a dynamic balance. So energy is flowing from one system to another in a continuous flow of equilibrium. But I mean, for example, this thing, it's a bit like a ballerina. You could almost think of a ballerina's foot, and she's going up on tiptoe, like they do. They spin round, and she's balanced on one foot, and she's perfectly poised. The ballerina. And also this idea of the arm pointing down is sort of one of balance and one of equipoise. And if the pentagram sort of slid either way, if it went that way or that way, it would become the two arms of the pentagram would hit the ground, and it would become a stable figure. So I suppose it's also a figure of instability. Change equals stability. Change, and you've got the sort of idea of change being a good thing, but also perhaps a catastrophe as well. But as Olaf Stapleton, a science fiction writer, talks about catastrophe being the forerunner of great change in society and in evolution. So it's a symbol of evolution as well as dynamic equilibrium, which is the structure of this world. Um, and then finally, we have the demiurge itself, the flower of the demiurge. And we have the idea here of a flower or a tree or a plant, its leaf system spreading out to the sun to receive the sun's rays, which will create the incredible um, uh, reaction in the leaves, which creates the energy for the plant. And yet we also have the root going down into the earth and bringing nutrients up to the plant as well. We have the fruiting body, the petals, or if it's a mushroom, it's the gills, and the mushrooms have fruiting bodies as well. Although most of the mushroom is actually underground, of course. But this symbol would cover mushrooms, and it would cover all the plants and trees and flowers. So it's kind of the sort of petals opening up to the sun, but the root going down into the earth or going down into the water if it's a water-based plant like a lily or something like that. So, and we have the idea of the dark lily, a thing of mystery, a thing of mysterious energy, sort of rising up from the ground, but also being received from the sun itself. So, um, this idea really that all these ideas are contained within the inverted pentagram. And one thinks of revolution and change, and everything in a way that this world is everything is hanging on by its fingertips. We're only just alive, sort of. Our bodies are really just keeping going, really. And it's a sort of the miracle of creation is contained within the inverted pentagram for sure. And I suppose this connects to modern Gnosticism in the sense that Gnosticism doesn't hate the demiurge. We don't hate this world. This world is as it is. But you can see that the inverted pentagram also connects us to the transcendental as well, through the air, through the water. So we are open to Gnosis, and Gnosis descends to give us the news that this world isn't the only thing that's available to us, as it were. Um, so I hope I've shown that um, this symbol is extremely powerful. Powerful in the sense that it demands our attention, it demands our contemplation. Of course, with power comes responsibility. And I always think it's best not to contemplate the inverted pentagram too much, because it does have a tendency to make people become irresponsible with all the power that is sort of suddenly at their disposal. And I always think that this inverted pentagram is the power symbol of the pentagram. That when you see a pentagram the right way up, as it were, it's kind of closed. But the inverted pentagram is when the valve is open and psychic energies are pouring through to be used either with foolishness or wisdom, with knowledge and understanding, or with just with allowing things to happen in a chaotic, anarchic sort of way. And yet, because we lived in a dual world, the two arms that come up are part of the duality of existence, which is something that modern Gnosticism doesn't defend or condone or condemn. We neither condone nor condemn the inverted pentagram, and it does have a destructive side, but it also does have a side which connects us to the transcendent. So I think it's quite important to contemplate this pentagram, and to use it sometimes as a what might sort of living symbol or yantra, to put it in Hindu terms, a sort of and to contemplate oneself becoming very small and going into the middle of this strange and mysterious figure, and experiencing all that it can offer. Bearing in mind, of course, that you shouldn't overdo these things, obviously, and you shouldn't obsessively contemplate this symbol, all every day kind of thing. There should be periods that when you don't think about it at all, long periods, in fact, and just allow its power, its magic to enter into you at your own pace. You're in control of your mind, not anything else. And just to contemplate all aspects of our existence on this earth, those aspects which are obstacles, those aspects which are part of our evolution, and those aspects which connect us to the transcendental God through the action of the Holy Spirit and through our own openness to Gnosis.